The debate trio is back. We've got a great one today. The best and worst bracelet. Come join the conversation. Hello, Ripley and Justin.
Hello, good to see you guys.
Thanks for coming back. We're in a special place today. You may hear some airplanes, so it feels like we're at home, but we're actually offsite.
I like it.
At a fun one, which means look at the table. We've got lots of watches to discuss and an even better topic, best and worst luxury watch bracelets. There's a lot to discuss, like I said, and I'm sure you guys have opinions to share.
So many bad ones.
So many bad ones, but so many good ones. Before we get to the good ones, what are you guys wearing on your wrist today? You want to kick it off, Ripley?
Well, an example of a fantastic bracelet and a fantastic watch. Yes, white gold, Meteorite, Pepsi.
I have never seen you in a
Great
GMT,
choice.
and of all GMTs,
I love this GMTs. I love this GMT. It belongs to you guys. It is not my GMT, but this is probably one of my favorite GMTs.
Yep.
How awesome. We actually got to feature this when it came in on a What's in the Box episode, and we kind of had a fun
I said the same thing.
review.
One of the best GMTs.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
What about
love
you?
that dial.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing a lovely Patek Complications.
Yeah.
It has a moon phase, so it's one of, you see the little stars that adorn it
Yeah,
down there?
I like
it feels
that.
very Emily, but also very girly, and I kind
pretty.
of felt the need for it today. What are you wearing?
I am wearing Rolex Datejust with the fluted
are
motif
going
dial.
off
And the
today.
green, I love that green. I say it, I feel like every episode now, but I like it.
Looks great together.
Thank you.
It's better with palm trees on it, but that's just me.
Hey, that's a great one too. I think this one edges it, but
I would go the full plain one. Maybe one day we'll all have to pull those out.
Yeah.
That would be
That's a
really
good trio.
fun. All right, this is just what we're wearing, so be sure to chime in and let us know what is on your wrist today while you are watching our fun debate. So before we get to maybe the critical side of bracelets in the luxury watch world, let's have a conversation. Like a bracelet, strap, or whatever you potentially have on your watch is vital, right? It's gotta be durable, but also it's gotta be comfortable. So we're gonna kind of run the range of best and worst. I want to hear your guys' opinions too. So you're allowed to bring in some other ones since we have a few on the table. Best
I think this is a good
bracelet.
topic. The bracelet is something that's often overlooked when we talk about watches, right? I mean, the dial is always the headliner, and you talk about metals in case all these things, and bracelet kind of, take second chair.
Yeah.
But it's important in terms of, and when we talk about this and you ask, what are some of the best and worst, I think of it kind of twofold. Aesthetically, do I like the way it looks? Do I think it's, it fits the watch? Is it pleasing? And also functionality.
True.
Changing links on it, using the buckle, the clasp, how comfortable is it, all those things. And I think it's high time we paid some attention to the bracelet.
And also, it's harder, arguably harder, to make a well-constructed, well-refined bracelet than it is to make the watch. Look at the case of the watch. A handful of components. Now with a bracelet, you might have tapered links. Each one of those links is going to be different. The links themselves are constructed of multiple components. And then the clasp is one of the hardest things for brands to engineer. It's got to be operated daily, far more than something like a bezel or a crown. And then you also have things, well, is it going to have an extension, a push button release? How is it going to latch? Long-term durability of that. Then if you put too many features, then it gets bulky.
Right.
So a lot of times it's easy to overlook the manufacturing of the bracelet, but it's arguably harder to manufacture a really good bracelet than a really hard case.
Let alone what type of metal goes into that. So.
And all those factors seems like it can kind of get away from you a little easier than some other components of the watch, right?
Well, then some you just
Looking
start
at you,
off all
Breitling.
wrong and it goes wrong even worse.
We'll get to it. But some have done it right. So who would like to kick this conversation off with maybe their favorite? You want to? Somebody take the table.
Age before beauty.
All right, what would you say is your favorite bracelet when it comes to watches?
This was a tough choice because there's a few at the top of the list, and we can, we can go over those. But if you twist my arm into one, I'm going to say the Tudor Pelagos.
That is a good one.
Okay.
I really love this bracelet.
Is it for the titanium purposes, or really where does it start for you?
It's kind of the whole package where I was talking about aesthetics and functionality. And granted, this is a sportier bracelet, right? I'm talking, this is a sport watch, it's titanium. It looks a little more tooly than, on something you would look for on a dress watch or something more refined. But I think it's extremely comfortable. Titanium has a lot to do with that. It's really lightweight, it's tight, it feels good on your wrist. I kind of forget I'm wearing it when I wear it. I think it looks really nice on this watch. When I see this watch, that's exactly the bracelet I want to see on it. It's not too much, it's not too little. And then we get to the clasp. I think this is possibly the best clasp in watches.
Wow.
I love this clasp. I love the, the spring loaded. I like how it moves. It's very quickly adjustable for, like those levels of like, just kind of a little bit looser, a little bit tighter. Since I've first discovered this bracelet, I've fallen in love with it, and it's gonna get my top pick.
Yeah. There's a durability side to that one too. Like you can actually wear this regularly and it still holds.
I didn't mention, but I like the way that it changes. It has screws. Yeah. It's simple. It's easy. It works. I'm not fiddling around with a bunch of pins and collars and tiny pieces and trapped.
Well, that's interesting from you because you kind of are notorious strap guy. So like being able to change that out and the ease of it.
Exactly, and it is. It's easy to change. It's just has a little cutout on the back of the end links right there. You can pop it out, put on a strap.
We all know is not universal.
Yeah, some of them, it's surprising how difficult some simple things are on some of these bracelets. Taking out a link is, can be a nightmare on some watches, and it really shouldn't be. There's good designs out there. Case in point.
Okay.
Anyway, that is
points
that's
for
my
this.
choice.
I love
I'm
this.
curious to see Ripley's opinion on this one.
So I do like Justin's choice.
Okay, that's great.
It's a great bracelet.
Very positive.
Can't argue. The spring-loaded extension of the clasp, wonderful. But I guess here's why it's a debate. I have to tell him why he's wrong.
Sure.
Categorically and unequivocally wrong. So it is a great bracelet, but a couple things you said. It makes sense for the Pelagos, but can it exist on its own and be equally adaptable to other models? And I'd argue that it's so utilitarian, it loses out in the stylistic. It's perfect for a sports watch, but all brush surfaces, this clasp here, it's awesome. It's got probably the coolest extension system around right now.
Sure.
But that's very technical looking. That's not really suit proper attire. And then on top of that, it's titanium, it's very light, but that's a double-edged sword. It doesn't really offer the same type of premium type of experience that some people want from a bracelet, where that's why they're not getting into strap, because it feels more substantial. So, still within the Rolex Tudor family, and still with this flat 3-link style, because I think it is, we kind of both gravitated towards it because it is sort of an apex of looks good and functional. But from the bigger sibling company in the better version of the bracelet, the classic Oyster, and the modern execution of it, specifically the one that you'll find on models like the Submariner, which includes the glide lock extension. So now why is it better? 904L steel, which is lovely. You get the, the extra corrosion resistance and the, the heft of it. Polished and finished to Rolex's standards. Now you can get this with polished center links on something like a GMT or Daytona, brushed links on this, so you can get it in different styles, and that's also testament to the fact that it looks great on different watches. Now, why do I like the Submariner one? It is the glide lock. I like that extra latch, the safety latch, but it's the glide lock extension for me. You get that really slick extension. It's not as sexy as the spring-loaded one in the Pelagos, but the clasp itself is a bit smaller, so for daily wear, it's maybe the superior choice. And let's be real, it's the Rolex Oyster bracelet. This is the bread and butter of the collection. It's the one you'll find on the most models. It looks great on all the models. If you hate my choice in clasp, they have it available with other clasps. But this is the flagship. That is the secondary offering. And for the do-it-all bracelet, I think this is the top one.
That is a very nice bracelet. I do like the Oyster bracelet.
Yeah, it's hard to deny.
It's classic, it's iconic, it's Rolex. It's been around since like the 30s, right? It's
technically not even Rolex's own bracelet. That design in like the bond clip format when it was produced by Gayfer predates Rolex's. They were using those as Rolex's bracelet. The Jubilee is actually Rolex's very first like proprietary in-house bracelet design. But you've been seeing Oyster style bracelets long before it, so it's been kind of carried over. And now when we think of it, it's the Oyster, Rolex, it's Oyster everything. Oyster lock, Oyster this, Oyster that. So yeah, it's the Oyster.
It is good, and granted, it may be the most versatile bracelet.
Okay.
Which I do give it a few points for that. It is, right? This one is a little more utilitarian, and it's a little more specific for the watch. However, I like that, and I'm leaning into it. I'm a sport guy. I like the sport watch, and I think it fits that watch as good as any bracelet fits a specific watch.
Okay. And see, that's where, as the resident female at the table, these are hard for me. They're super sporty, and I really haven't jumped into that sport watch pool just yet. I keep it a little bit more refined. So if I'm allowed to offer my honorable mention, I have to admit, I have been a President fan for, I guess, since the beginning.
Yes, you have.
You want to talk about wearing something that not only is comfortable, but for me, works on a daily basis. Also, this modern iteration of this clasp, come on. It's one of my favorites. And I feel like Rolex kind of takes the cake when it comes to, I guess, their design component of bracelets. They just know what they're doing, and they're doing it right. And I love the look, I love the feel, I love the long-term wear of this bracelet so much. So that gets my vote for what it's worth. You guys have much better points.
The President's a great bracelet, and I have to, also on my short list was the Rolex Jubilee.
Oh, yes.
I really like the Jubilee. I think it's a great bracelet.
Always deserves an honorable mention.
So
yeah.
good.
On, look at this.
I usually, we've been asked before if it's Jubilee or Oyster, what do you pick? And I usually choose the Oyster.
Yes.
Again, I think it's watch specific. I've said in the past, some of them are better with one than the other. But if I really have to choose, I think I choose the Oyster over the Jubilee. But the Jubilee is amazing. It's more comfortable. I think it's a fantastic bracelet. And it made me think of it because when you bring up the President, I feel like you have the Jubilee here and you have the Oyster here, and the President is kind of like the best of both worlds. It's the 3-link of the Oyster, but it's a little more rounded and more refined of the Jubilee. It's kind of like one foot in both, and in the best way, right?
Yep.
It's done really well. I agree.
The only thing it's missing is some type of integrated extension system.
Yeah.
On the modern Jubilees, they've got a more Oyster style clasp, so they can do that. But with the President, they have that concealed crown clasp. It looks so good, but you're confined to just full links for the bracelet.
And I like that. I like that adjustment. You had mentioned the glide lock, which it's so good. Like you said, I think the Pelagos clasp is better, but that glide lock is it's right up there with it.
It offers a sense of independence to the wearer that I don't get on the President. I gotta have friends like you guys to be able to help me change these out when I need it, based on how my wrist is fluctuating at
Speaking
times.
of good Rolex clasps, I like the Deep Sea as well. How it has
it's super cool. I don't know if it's as practical, but it's something to fit
so
in.
cool.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
It's such a display of the engineering and the fit and finish of a Rolex, because it looks so good and functions so well. It disappears and then you pull it up. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, that middle piece comes up, like this is so cool.
Also known as a glide lock too. There's the two different types. I almost wanted to choose the current Cartier Santos bracelet because you know how not because the clasp is pretty mediocre. Bracelet links are very nicely finished, whatever, but it's because of how you can remove the links.
Yes.
There's that little button that sits
push
flush,
button
you
and
press it in, the little pin comes up, and like look at that. I've already pulled it out.
You want to talk about ingenuity and
but we want to resize the bracelet on the fly. I think
that watch is a great daily wear where you'll need something like that.
Yeah, I mean, without an extension, you might need it a bit more. But I think as far as overall, the screws on it are a bit more polarizing. It's the Oyster.
I think.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one more. I see it here. Come on, we gotta talk
Technically
about
a bracelet because of its metal core.
True.
The Oyster Flex.
The Oyster Flex.
That's true.
We've been a fan of this since it arrived.
Yes, I've said it. I think it's the best rubber out there. It's comfortable. It's when I first saw it, I thought it was kind of weird. It has these little things that they don't seem like it would be comfortable. They are. It wears so nicely, and I think it looks great. It feels premium. My minor squabble is the sizing of it, right? Like you have to order the exact size.
Well, a lot of Rolexes, the clasp does give you that.
It does. So you have a little bit of
wiggle room.
But yeah, you can't really add or remove links. I wish more brands did a rubber cord, or I mean a metal cord rubber strap like this. I love that concept. You know, just in case it tears, as rubber eventually will.
Right.
There's still a piece of metal in there. But yeah, I don't know if we really count that as a bracelet.
It's okay.
Kind of its own
For the
thing.
sake of the conversation, I'm glad we got to discuss it, because now we've checked off this box of the best. Can we talk about maybe the opposite end of this spectrum? I know.
This was a harder.
This is the point of
narrowing
the debate.
it down was hard.
Really?
There's
All right,
so
you're
many
gonna
bad
kick
ones.
off
So many bad ones.
the least favorite, and why?
Okay, well, this is kind of awkward because this is a really bad bracelet, and it's one I actually own on a Breitling of mine. What on earth? This slant thing, it's like iconic Breitling. It's not really good looking. It looks like you bent the links. It's not easy to size. There are screws, but this isn't a screw that comes out. The whole link actually disassembles, and so if you've never done it before, it's a bit of a tedious process. The clasp itself, there's no type of mechanism, just kind of friction fit. Not really much of an extension system, certainly not one that I would really be pleased to operate like this. And I mean, looks are personal, but the all polished, especially on this Breitling for Bentley, is is it's a
decision.
look. It's a look. Yeah, it's.
To me, I instantly see the angled links, and it just looks like my toddler used scissors and tried to cut something that didn't come out straight, you know?
I don't even, this is now I've almost accepted as just part of Breitlink's design language,
true.
but
Yes.
like, there's definitely a way to make this better looking, you know, than this exact execution.
There's a reason
here.
where Navitimers, for me, I prefer on a leather strap for a reason.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I love the watch itself, but the bracelet does knock it a little bit.
Although I will say this, as bad as it is, I own that bracelet on a chronomat.
That's important.
And I just boldly wear it as just like peak, you know, garish
And
Breitling vibes.
that's how you gotta do it, yeah.
I kind of
This is why
enjoy
we
it.
love you, Ripley.
So yeah, it's like the greasy cheeseburger thing.
is.
Like it's, you know it's not good for you, but you kind of love it
go
deep down.
for
But
it, yeah.
objectively,
Yeah.
it's bad. But you know.
All right, I gotta know.
Worst bracelet?
Yes, where do you fall on this?
And we'll start out by saying this. I love telling Ripley he's wrong.
Okay.
Absolutely, it's great. He's right on this one. I say the same thing.
Really?
This is the worst bracelet.
Okay. Mutually agreeable table.
I know.
here.
There's some we can talk about. I have some other choices that are
I want to hear.
that are on the short list. We'll get to
Okay.
it. But if we come down to one, again, as much as I love
You
fighting with
too.
Ripley, I got to agree with him on this one.
Look at that.
I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the polish. It's kind of chunky, and I'm not one that I'm not one that shies away from chunky. I'll wear a
No,
big watch.
you have a big wrist.
It's you know it's good with me, but just the way it's done, and again, maybe it's personal, the aesthetics thing. But what I think loses more points for me is the functionality. Like Ripley says, this is It's just like a friction fit. I really dislike this
Scary a little.
this little fold over. A lot of times I'll kind of pull it from the end, and this doesn't open far enough to really comfortably get your finger in there. You got to do it from the sides, but you know when I'm not thinking about it, I kind of just go on the end, and it's really awkward to get in there. And then Ripley mentioned the sizing. 100%. That's on
Hugely
one of
wide links.
my big beefs with this one is
Okay.
one, the links are huge, and it's so intricate, all the little pieces, and to get them all fit. And you know, we talked about the Tudor. It's a screw. The Rolex.
Yeah.
It's a screw. It works great. There is nothing wrong with the way that functions, and they could have easily done that. Also, this one's just, I don't think it fits the watch that well. The watch is...
The non-fitted end links
Yeah,
on that
the
case,
flat end
everything's
links,
about
and
it. It's
it's
just, yeah.
I don't like it.
Okay.
So yeah, this, Ripley, I'm with you on this one. I think that's
Okay.
the worst.
What gets
I own
your,
the worst bracelet. Definitively, I'm happy to own that. Yeah.
if you had to choose.
Sure. Also on there, I really dislike Panerai bracelets.
Oh.
Those
Panerai.
watches belong on a strap across the board.
Put it on.
but-
It's on a strap. You're right. It belongs on a strap.
And the Panerai have made straps out of every possible exotic
Yes.
animal on
Yes.
this planet. So you
Yeah.
if it breathes,
Yes.
they've made a strap out of it. So
Say,
there's
when you
no shortage
think-
of options.
When you think Panerai, you do not go to Panerai on a bracelet. So
No,
this does
and they've
kind
done a
of
few.
make
no,
sense.
no, only if you're choosing violence. Like it is.
They have a couple weird ones. This is one of them. I
not
always
aesthetically the worst.
Not aesthetically the worst. You're
Okay,
right.
okay.
This one, it to me, it's always a little bit odd when it's just like a one link, like a single link, where every one is the same. They fit
Gosh,
to
those
each
are
other.
so opposite.
It's clunky and unrefined, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It just does. It wouldn't be bad. It's a look. It just doesn't, and it's kind of fitting for the lines
again,
of the Luminor,
this-
but it just doesn't feel like a luxury type.
Exactly. And if I bought this watch on it, I would wear it on this bracelet sometimes. Mostly on a strap, but I would
Okay.
put it on the bracelet and wear it. The one that I really can't get on board with is the one that has like the crescent shaped links, the half moon kind of. I
Ugly.
believe that they're designed to kind of mimic the
They do.
half circle crown guard. And that one aesthetically, it's a 0 for me. I just, it's bad. I think it looks like you're trying too hard, and it's.
I
just can't do
will
it.
give Panerai props for making a different looking link.
Okay,
but
they
that is
tried.
the definition of it's just different, not in any way better.
Right.
It's not.
They are thinking outside the box, which I appreciate.
it's a little bit fugly no
Yeah.
matter how you look at it.
All right, if I get to enter this conversation super quickly, When I started watches, I didn't like it and I didn't understand it. And I still actually 4 years in don't understand the Pearl Master.
That one's awesome.
Okay.
Absolutely.
This is our debate today,
And
Justin.
particularly that example is awesome. But I'm gonna let you cook. Go ahead. Tell me why. Tell me why that one sucks.
All I was going to say is it's just not my fan. I actually really hate the clasp here more than anything. I've gotten pinched, so I do a lot of the wrist models for our website, and this one bugs me every time, especially when it doesn't fit. It hurts, okay? And it digs in, and it's just not aesthetically beautiful. I'm sorry, this is my opinion. I just don't like it. And listen, I know that this isn't just a female's watch. This is anyone's watch. Ripley loves this watch. I'm sorry that I'm hurting your feelings. I
Fits
don't.
my wrist pretty well.
I don't love anything. I don't like how it joins the case. I physically despise the Pearl Master. Yeah, okay.
I'll agree with him.
Sorry.
I don't like the Pearl Master
This iteration
bracelets.
even tries to add diamonds to make it better, and it's still just terrible.
Are you done slandering Rolex's jewelry bracelet?
Okay, no, I need to continue a little bit more on this one. The diamonds all the way around the bracelet, to me, are just...
It's not a look.
Just too much.
But this one has the bezel.
It's the epitome of I'm just trying too hard, right? Like I need diamonds on the bezel and on the dial.
There's a time and a place for that. It's like when you garnish a Bloody Mary with a whole rotisserie chicken. Yeah, it's like a.
That's exactly it.
Yes, it's pants and suspenders and belt. It's all of it.
But,
yes.
And also like a giant price increase as well. To me, I don't need to prove anything with more diamonds on my bracelet.
Again, the fun part of watches is that it's personal. So if you personally choose this, I love this for you. I just don't love this for me.
I can see it on a lady who is going for that full-on sparkled, iced out look. I can kind of get on board.
Or him.
Kind of.
Yeah, if you push
But outside of that, and I mean, aside from the diamonds and the personal preference of diamonds on the bracelet or diamonds in general, the Pearl Master is my least favorite Rolex bracelet. I don't like how round and bubbly it is, and it doesn't fit, it doesn't feel well. It feels like, it kind of binds when you go there, but it's not as stiff that it holds its shape. I don't really love it.
I don't get it. I really
Sorry,
don't.
Rip.
It's time specific.
Right, so
it feels
here's
early
why
night.
it's awesome. Here's why it's awesome. Yeah, the clasp's kind of garbage. This was, I mean, this is unrefined. If they were still making the Pearl Master bracelet, it would have a better
Yeah, they
clasp
discontinued it
mechanism.
for a reason,
Yeah, it's because it didn't really have a place where Rolex's design language was headed. You have to appreciate, it was a child of the 90s. Look at the rounded bracelets of the era, the tag link. That thing is ugly as sin. If that was on the table for us to choose, that would be a top contender. But that's how all the bracelets were. Look at the Omega Seamaster bracelet from the 90s, which they still use today. Super rounded, these very...
Hate that Seamaster bracelet from the 90s. That's...
It's a look, I respect it, but this is very much in that spirit. You have to appreciate Rolex, who cut their teeth making tool watches, to say, let's make a jewelry bracelet. And that's where you get into the rounded edges, the more intricate designs. Now, here's why this one's fabulous. Look at the shape of the center links. Those diamond encrusted center links. This is not your standard Pearl Master bracelet. And it's not just a diamond set one. It has those asymmetric variations in it, creating this weirdly dynamic stripe. This isn't a standard Rolex Pearl Master. This is a really special one. This is one of the more unique, fully gem set bracelets that Rolex has done for these models. And I mean, is this my favorite link structure? No. Would I personally wear a full diamond bracelet? Not until something radically changes in my financial situation. But I gotta respect it for one, the craftsmanship, two, the gem setting, three, the innovative design, and four, just the weird snapshot that this represents in Rolex's history. This thing is absolutely fantastic.
I respect weird.
It's like marshmallow pizza, everything wrong, but not necessarily even something you want to eat, but you're happy it exists.
But there is someone who wants to eat it, and I get that. And this one for me is on the bad list of it's definitely admittedly more personal.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just
as all watches are, which is why this debate conversation, even specifically to this topic, is fun to have. We're three very different people in life, but also in watch collecting. It's fun to figure out where we come in.
I just thought of it. I just thought of another good one. I'll throw it out there for a quick mention. The Omega Seamaster James Bond mesh that they have in titanium, and now it's also out in stainless.
Yeah.
First time I saw that, I was wasn't sure. Then when I saw it in real life, oh, man, that is so good.
You like
it fits so well the way it's designed.
But there is a caveat. Your wrists are just a bit bigger than mine. It fits you great. I'm that one size smaller where the curvature, because it is mesh, it doesn't quite fit the curvature of my wrist
pushes it
is
over,
needed.
doesn't it?
The sides only bend so much that kind of it goes inward. It's not perfect for me, but that's a great option.
The way it adjusts without, because a lot of those mesh bracelets have like links that are kind of fake mesh and you have to remove. And that one, the way that it's kind of like a tang adjustment, but it's just finished so nicely. That one's another one I think is done really well. Not necessarily my favorite, done really well.
It's a good segue because I think we'd like to open this up to you guys at this point. You've heard our opinions, good and bad, and now we want to hear yours. Where do you fall in the best bracelet conversation? Where do you fall in the worst? Please chime in, let us know.
And how many comments do you think it will be before someone will say, I can't believe you guys didn't even mention the Nautilus or the Royal Oak, the two most famous integrated bracelet. Yeah, you know, we know. Yeah, they came up. They're just not spectacular or terrible enough to warrant discussion.
Yeah, they're good. They're good enough.
I'm curious. I had another thought right now. I'm curious your guys' opinion on this, as well as everyone out there. Leave us a comment. One of my bracelet, actually technically it's a class pet peeve.
Okay.
When it's the double fold, and one has to be before the other.
Oh, you mean like this Cartier right here? Oh, actually, no.
That
look
one's good.
Done.
That one got it together.
Yes.
Yeah.
I retract.
I know
Here we
what you're
go.
saying.
Well done, Cartier. This is why this is a good bracelet.
That is why I did not knock on that one. But you know what I'm talking about, where if you put one side down, the other side's gonna bang into it.
So the Royal Oak, not a fan of the Royal Oak bracelet for that reason.
I'm not a fan of that feature,
but it looks good with that AP signet in the middle.
It does look good.
It looks really good. It looks really good.
Like I said, chime in, let us know what we missed, where you want to have a conversation, and we will continue this in the comments. So you guys, thanks for joining me offsite for this fun debate.
Talk about.
I appreciate all of your feedback. We'll be back with a fresh debate sometime soon. Until then though, be well.